You close the music? You can see it.
Hello, everyone.
Sure.
Today we are going to talk about, as you might have guessed, clean code. This topic is actually quite important to us, and we've already had a bunch of talks regarding this topic. And today our Head of Backend Engineering, Kfir, is going to share his opinions on this topic, and please welcome.
Thank you. Hi, evening. Good evening, everyone. Let's see. Not working. Okay. Hi, good evening, everyone. This talk is a part of a series of talk we do in a week center R&D in Tel Aviv about clean code and design. This is sort of the keynote. It's kind of inspirational talk, so you will be able to be inspired about clean code and design. And by the end of this talk, I want you to say, wow, I want to know more. By the way, with quick show of hand, who is here a backend guy, server guy, and front end? Awesome. So this talk is server and client agnostic. So we try to do software engineering and we're solving problems from the 70s. And we're still solving the same problems. The only thing that changed is the tools. So we have jQuery and React and Redux and Angular and so on. We have the server like EJB and Java and J2E and Akka and RuckyStream. But in the end, we're doing software engineering. This is the topic about. So what is about? Clean code and software design. A taste. Why a taste? Because when you test something, you want to have more. Okay, so let's start. So myself, I'm a backend engineering manager in Wix. Nothing changed from last time. By the way, I want to say that traditionally, all of my talk I'm doing the first time in Nipro. I love to travel here. It's awesome place, awesome city. I love this office, and I really appreciate that you come to see me. So nothing changed in terms of why, but we also have now new office in Kiev, so we grow tremendously. About my hobby, so besides of being manager of the R&D, backend developers, I really love to code. I code myself. I'm doing it like quite often, even if it's a busy day, so I do it at night. I love open source. Why open source? Because I believe that a great software can be built by people that contribute code on their free times because they have interest in this domain specific. So I do open source mainly in JavaScript and NPM and so on. I really love it. And in spare time, when I have time, I do some cooking. It's about me. That's it. Okay, let's start. Why are we, as software engineer, wake up in the morning? So I tried to make a list of things, and I was thinking more and more, and I came up with 10 items. I said it's too much. So I tried to make a reduction, and I came up with two things. Why we wake up in the morning? So we want to deliver software and develop very fast. And we want software that's easier to change. This is the main goal what we want to do. And a month ago, I've met an ex-colleague of mine, which I didn't see for 2 years. And I said, hi, where have you been? And he told me, I've got a new job. I said, awesome, what are you doing? And he starts saying, I'm doing React, and I'm doing Cassandra, and I'm doing CQRS and so on. And I told him, hold on. This is the tools. You're delivering the best software in the world. you're doing this domain, you're promoting your company business. And this is why we wake up in the morning. We want to build amazing software with amazing tools, but amazing software. This is the key. We drive to be the best business developers. So, how we can do it? Two things: clean code, software design. Clean code. So recently, I'm interviewing a lot of people in weeks, and recently I'm asking all of the developers that come to my interviews, what is clean code for you? And you know what? From 10 people, I'm getting 10 different answers. So I try to put some light here. What is clean code in my point of view? I hope it will work. And software design. When you go to your friend and ask him, what is the design? And you start putting the boxes, this server and this server, this is persistence layer, and this is the Redis and the Memcache, and this is the LBA. Talk about architecture, but I want to talk about software design. Because if you do great architecture, you can scale your software, you can scale your data. But I want to talk about software design. What is the software? The architecture is okay, but only very small part. By the way, these two sometimes overlap. Some concept of clean code might be also the concept for software design. Okay, so let's start. What the hell is clean code? So let's read together from Wikipedia. Software code that is formatted and modularized in systematic manner so that another code can easily interpret or modify it. The idea behind clean code is to write a code that someone else can read. And you write code once, but you read the code thousands of times, many times. Single write, of course you can refactor, and many reads. It's important to understand that clean code is about the aesthetic and the semantic of the code, how you look at it. Okay? Let's see a few quotes, which I really like and really influenced me. First of all, Walt Cunningham. Everyone know Walt Cunningham? Who knows Walt Cunningham? Okay. This guy invented the WikiWeb, the first wiki in 1994. And he was one of the 17 signers of the Agile Manifesto, a great guy. And he said, you can call it a beautiful code when the code also makes it look like the language was made for the problem. And what we want to say, we want to see the problem. What to see? When I look at the code and see, boom, this is the problem. You see some service, and you see the service is sending SMS, but you don't want to see the validation. You want to see the problem itself of the class. And you want it to be done in the language. The language is important. Another nice quote, Michael Feathers, who I really love. I had the honor to speak with him a year ago in Build Stuff, Kiev. Really great guy. He used to work like 10 years with Uncle Bob. And he says, clean code always looks like it was written by someone who cares. You know what? Cares is a strong word. Who I care for? I care for my mother. I care for my father. I care for my dog. I care about my relative, and I care about my code. He metaphor the code to his relatives. It's awesome. So we need to care. He care about code. If you care, you can produce clean code. Another guy named Corey House, not to be confused with Corey Hines, different guy. He wrote an amazing blog post about clean code, which really influenced me, and he says, clean code is about recognizing that your audience isn't just computer. It's real live human. So what we try to do as a developer, we try to put variables and put them in memory and get from memory and send them to the packet to the I/O. We do a whole bunch of stuff. We do loops and we do while and all this stuff. But we want, in the end, that it will be read like a poetry, like a story, like someone can read it. A good code can be read also by a product manager. So we want to know the memory and the I/O and everything, but we want that you read it like a story, like a poetry. Okay, let's continue. For me, clean code should be like your car dashboard. A sneak preview gives you all information you need. So if you look in the center of the car, you get right in the center the mileage. Let's say you're driving 100 miles per hour at night, and you look, take a sneak preview, boom, 100 milliseconds, you know everything. You know the speed, you know everything. It's important because you have zero learning curve. If you drive a day 10 different cars, you have zero learning curve. Let's say, for example, Pavel asked Lena, can I borrow your car? And Lena told him, okay, you can borrow my car, but let me go with you and explain you how the dashboard works. This is how we treat codes. You treat code in a way that it should have zero learning curve. And when people open the file, boom, like the dashboard, they see exactly what they need. Of course, you have in the right side, you have the gas status. It's not important. You can look at the gas every 2-3 hours. But you want to see the focus of the problem. The problem when you're driving, the problem of the fast, the speed. So it's amazing. Okay. Who is here knows Tel Aviv? Have you heard of Tel Aviv, the city? Okay. Let's change it to Kiev. Okay. I have the metaphor of Kiev. Okay. My name is Kfir, and I am single guy live in Kiev. Kiev is an awesome city, live 24 hours. Obviously, I've got problems. I have problems. I'm single guy living in Kiev. What is my worst nightmare? I have stains in my clothes. I have dirty clothes. I want to solve this problem, so I'm buying a laundry machine. I have a laundry, everything is okay and fun. And now I make the laundry, I put some lavender and lilac. It's amazing. And when I finish the laundry, I have a basket in the living room. I put the clothes. Everything is okay. And a friend called me and told me, Kfir, let's go out for a beer. I said, okay. And he told me, you are a single guy. You might get married someday. Let's go and drink. We might meet someone. So I go to this basket and I try to look for my clothes and so on. And I end up with a green shirt and pink pants. I couldn't find anything because it's mess. So this is like the metaphor for the hacker. And this hacker is like writing few single one-liner of codes, solving the problems, but when they ask him, when his boss asks him, can you make some changes and modification to this code, he will not be able to do it. Problem. But I want to be better. I want to be a better man. So I'm buying a closet. I have a closet. Everything is okay. I have many boxes. I know everything. I know where is my socks. I know where is my underwear. I know where is my shirt, everything. And my friend called me in Kiev again and told me, Kfir, let's go out for a beer. And I go and I dressed like Marlon Brando. I'm amazing. I'm going like this and go out with friends. It's awesome. It's working for me. Everything is okay. But I met someone, a girlfriend, and she wanted to move in with me. And she wanted to dress me up. But she couldn't. Because she don't know what is my order. She couldn't find anything. So this is the guy that writes amazing codes for himself. He delivers fast. He delivers all the features. He's awesome. He's like fast developer. He's a genius. But whenever everyone else trying to help him, it just don't work. So there is only one solution. Make things for others. We write code for others. We are not living alone. So we have like a nice closet. I can use it. And we have sort of standards that everyone else can join us. Okay, let's continue. Questions so far? Feel free to stop me and interrupt me if I speak fast. Okay, awesome. Okay, so what is clean code? Many things. So attention and white spaces and tabs. It's important to have standards and to choose what is the space size, what is how we do tabs and so on. Naming, reveal intent. It's important, but naming is one of the parts that overlap between clean code and design. You need to choose a real name, and if you put a comment in your code, it means you have a bad name. Naming the important stuff of your code. You want a small function, very small. It's important the length of the line because you don't want to open the class and see that the line goes up and you need to scroll right and left. How many arguments you want? If you have 4 or 5 arguments, it's also not readable. You want to maybe collapse it to an object and get the arguments. When to break line, physically, our body, it's a physics limitation, cannot read block of code which is together. If you take a line break, it will be easy for our brain to understand some of the code. So when to break a line, it's important. How do we structure the package and folder? It's important. Dry. Do not repeat yourself. So this is also a subject that overlap between clean code and design. Dry, as you know, is I want to have a function or a single line of code or something. We don't want to repeat it, so we want to put in a function. Venkat, everyone know Venkat? Okay, so Venkat is a cool guy. He also refers to dry as something you do. For example, let's say you want to have a field to database. Then you have the field to database. Then you have it on the DAO level. Then you have it in the service. Then you have it in the controller. You want to add one field database, and you change the whole spectrum. So for Venkat, dry, it's try to make your software in a way that you want to add something and change it in one place. Not only a function and a call, also multi-layer stuff. It's important. We want the code to be declarative and expressive. So all these things are important. And of course, different languages have different standards. For example, in .NET, the curly braces goes the next line, and it's important you have common language with your company, with your colleagues, but common is important. So everyone can go. We want people to move between projects. It's important. We can want to help each other. It's all about paying attention into detail. When you finish writing your code, I suggest you something. Close the computer, go drink, come, read it again. Read it again. You will find amazing stuff. You will find, oh my God, I wrote this code. Yes, you did it 5 minutes ago. It's crazy. Don't do it. So put attention into detail. It's important. I'm sorry about the Scala. It's only 2 examples in Scala, but in clean code, we don't care about the language. Of course, there is the things, but only 2 examples. So, anyone can tell me what this function does? Sending email, good. What else? Sending email, what else? Awesome. The validator of the to and the CC, yes? What else? No. Yes, so it's done 3 things. It's done validation for the CC and the to. It's logging the information, and it sends an email. What this function returns? Yeah, it returns a try, but you don't know what is a try inside. You don't know. The curly braces are mixed, like, you know what? You kind of understand what it does, but it was painful. If you read such code, you're going to say, you should fire this guy. It's awful. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He cares about himself only. Let's try to fix it together. So I have 3 spots. Validation, empty line, logging, empty line, and sending an email. I see like 3 places. What is the validation doing? It's like the gas in the dashboard. It's on the side. You can see what it does. It's important to understand that you have validation, but it's second level of importance. You take it out and put it down. What this function returns? Try of an ID. So this send email returning an ID. It's awesome. We did very, very small stuff, and we got it readable. Even for JavaScript developers, PHP, product managers can see or say, My product manager, not a coder, you can see it in. Oh my God, you're validating this email. I know it. Oh my God, you check this and that. I know it. It's important. It's awesome. But you know what? It's obvious. You sort of finding such code, yes? Who writes such code? You write such code, yes? You do that, yes? Of course. Let's see now an example of how you do good stuff, but not the best. And then we do it the best. Okay? So this is a test in Scala. It has 2 lines. Let's try this together. So there's a doghouse. So doghouse add dog. It gets default dog.copy age 25. Okay. So I want to guess. Age 25. There is no dog that lives 25 years. So it's months. Yeah, makes sense. Must be successful try. So we understand that this function returns try. Try in Scala is like something that has failure or success. Okay, I understand. The second line is verification. So I said doghouse, dog by age, 20, 30. I can guess that 20 and 30 is from and to. Must contain default dog copy age 25. So I have some code duplication, the default dog copy. A copy is a function in Scala that takes a class, case class, and returns you a different object with the property provided. So the copy is the mechanics. I want to see semantics. This code is okay. If I see a guy in my team writing such codes, I will be happy. It's okay. It's nice code. Everyone thinks different. Some code duplication. Everyone thinks it's not a good code. You okay? Okay. I think you're okay. Okay, so let's try to fix it and see how we can be excellent. Not like good, excellent. So I have now 3 places. So default dog with age in months. So I have like sort of a builder interface. So I have not like copy. Copy is a mechanical way in Scala to copy and get a new object. So I want to have with age in months. Months, I know it's months. I don't need to think of it. 25. Then dog age, doghouse, add dog must be dog added. So instead of then show you the semantically what the function returns, I'm adding a matcher that says what happened. I'm care in my test about the semantics, not the mechanics. And then verification, dog by age in months, I have from and to. Must have dog of dog. Instead of contain, which is a function on a list, I got it written more as a poetry. Now this is okay, but and if you see this code, the previous code, it takes you, I don't know, half a minute to understand what it code does. Easy. But we want as a developer, as an excellent developer, to reduce this time, and we want to think that the guy that come after us or girl that come after us will not need to think. Okay. But in the real world, there is no one function and one test. We have hundreds of thousands of tests in a code. And you know something? People copy not only good habits, people copy bad habits. For example, I see a code, this guy created annotation. I like this pattern, let's copy it. Oh, this guy put underscore in the name, let's copy it. And then it's snowball effect. People copy from each other bad habits. And in the end, the code cannot be maintained. When someone else comes to your code, you will not be able to read it. So every time you write a code, you need to pay attention into details and understand more and more and more. Maybe I can add another change, and refactor more and more. You can start with the OK code, but think again about the domain and see how you can make it better. Details, important details. Okay. Design, it's important. So what do you want in design? We want the code easier to change. Easy. So I want to change the code, I want to be easier to change. I want to find super fast where to change. For example, I want to check the validation of the email. I'm doing a search on a class, email validator. I will be able to find it by the name. It's easy. But no fast what to change. Sometimes you find where to change, but this pattern is like crazy. I don't know how to do it. And I tell my boss, it's hard to change it. I need to refactor everything. You want to know fast what to change. Reaction to pain. There is pain, I want to react it. I want to hide the pain. There is construction of the sockets with all this UDP part and so on. I want to hide it. I want to see the problem, and that's it. I don't want to bypass layer. I don't want to have leaky abstraction. I want suppression of concern in my code. I want to focus on why, not on how. This is my goals in design. So design concept, by the way, is copied from Wikipedia, and you see only one box. Talk about architecture. The software architecture is the part that we integrate with the system. How we connect to the Cassandra, how we connect to the network, how we do UDP. This is only very small part. If we do this part good, we choose the right layers, we choose the right databases, we choose the right health test, we choose that monitoring will be awesome. We can be like Wix and have 100 million users without downtime. I'm joking, with downtime, but in general. But if you really want to scale your engineering, you need to focus to all of the rest. How do you show the intent of flow control in your code? How to make your code easy to refactor? And all this kind of, are you modular the system? You need to understand the software design, software engineering, because the software architecture is solved. You solve it. We already talk about it. We know how it works, but we forgot the other part. Kent Beck. Everyone know Kent Beck? Kent Beck is an awesome guy. He invented the TZ. And on the late 90s, he was developing the extreme programming stuff, and he came up with 4 rules of software designs. And he talked about 4 concepts. Test pass. So he said, of course, in Wix we do TDD, but test pass means at any given time we'll be able to run tests against our software and see that all the features are up and running. Good. Express intent. So all of the software we write, they expressively do the intent. Not duplication, of course. And small or fewer elements. Everything is small. One important stuff about this, he was talking about the ordering. So the most important stuff, you start with spelling test. You run the test. Only after test pass, you do express intent, refactor, change the naming of your code. Only after this pass, you remove duplication. Only after this pass, you do another refactor and look fewer elements. If you going to follow these 4 rules with this order, you get a good code. It's awesome. I love this guy. Okay, Eric Evans. Who knows Eric Evans? Good. He came up with like a big book. Interesting, a bit boring sometimes, I will frankly, but interesting concept. Domain-driven design. Who knows domain-driven design? Okay. Domain-driven design came up to think of the domain first. So Eric talking about building an enterprise project, big project with many teams, and he's talking about the domain experts that sit with developers and try to define the domain, not the classes, not the properties, but the domain itself. And to talk the same language, talk about ubiquitous language, how we talk about the same language on a project. For example, there is the door of Pavel office. Everyone knows it because we define this domain. When we talk about domain, he talked about bounded context, how teams integrate with each other, and what is the context they want to share, and how to avoid leaking of the context, how to define the object, entities, repositories, and all this kind of stuff. It's really fascinating. We don't do domain-driven design. It's important to know the concepts, so it will help you on day-to-day. how you do stuff, how you define the model. Why? Give me this function. It might have some leaky stuff. I want to create an anti-corruption layer. So I won't want to leak his domain to my domain. I'm confronting to his domain, so he's the strongest. What is mean to me? And all this sort of stuff. It's very interesting, and you should read about it. But there are two approaches for doing design. This is the old way. Big upfront design. Like we did like in the... I'm developing for 20 years, so that's how we did code. We do design, we have a problem, then we do design, we created the UMLs, sequence, diagram, and all this flow diagram and so on. We were sitting, and let's say an example. My boss tell me, Kfir, please develop for me service that send SMS. Okay, I said, okay, awesome, I can do it. So let's think, I need persistence. What is the correct way to do it? I need monitoring. I need logging. I need back office. I need to know what is the regulation for SMS in all countries. I know that Twilio is a good provider that gives you SMS capabilities, but maybe I can do more research and think. Maybe I can get different vendors in different countries and I can get lower price per country and better service. And I'm thinking more and more at throttling, then what is the vendors, and maybe I can connect to the SMSC services in Vodafone, in Kyivstar, and whatever. It takes ages, and we have more committees, and we have like architect cultures, so the architects say this and that. It doesn't work, and it fails. Why it fails? Because it was a long process. And in the world that you have documents become stale. If your documents are not become stale, you have terrible boss and you have boring work. Because it's hard. We want to have single source of truth. It also narrow the world of developer. Developer want to have like the full wide, like you want to do all the design. Now we have architect and so on. This approach failed. But today we are evolutionary design, TDD, wise, and so on. So my boss told me, Kfir, build for me SMS server. And I said, okay. In this meeting, when he speaks to me, I open my laptop, I'm creating the domain objects, exposing the function, the rest or whatever. When he speaks to me, I stand to my guys, start integrating. I'm going to my desk, opening Twilio, hooking up the protocol, and I have SMS service in production in one day. This is the beginner's mind. I'm writing failing tests. I'm beginner's mind. I start implementing. It's awesome. We are like new age generation and so on. But it's not perfect. Because sometimes we need to think. Persistence can be completely different. For example, I choose a persistence which does not work with the scale I want to have. I'm exposing an API to someone with the domain which is completely not relevant. You need to think of the domain and so on. To be like evolutionary design, which is very hypey and like Uncle Bob says so and Michael Feathers, it's good, it's nice, not perfect. But if we are the best developer and we know how to design software, it will be easy for us to change. Do we want to be this? No. We want to be better. Better means, let's think a bit. I want to write, yes, I can refactor, yes, I can change the code, but maybe I can save some of the refactoring. Maybe I can think a little bit more. It's important. We can do better. So there is spectrum. In the one side, we have evolutionary design. Like today, we are beginner's mind. Okay, I don't care about the design. I write failing test. I don't care about persistent. I have a memory database. For fine. Other side, we have the age, the old people. Give me documents, show me sequence, give me the architect, and so on. Obviously, you want to be somewhere here. Make sense? Okay. And I'm saying, engineers are like doctors. We're getting paid to make hard decisions. Why doctor? I go to a doctor and says, doctor, my pain is back. Back is pain. And you tell me, okay, Kfir, I give you a pill. Take the pill, go home, take the pill, and I feel dizzy. I go to the doctor and say, listen, the pill you gave me makes me dizzy. And he said, okay, I know why, because you have another pill, it has conflict, I give you another pill. So I give me another pill, and I go home, and I take it. And it's awesome, no pain in my back. But when I read the brochure of the pill, I see it might hurt your liver and kidney. I said, oh my God, you're going to kill me. So I go, doctor, what the hell you do? You're going to kill me. I said, okay, I'm going to give you a prescription for medical weed. In Israel, it's common. Not easy, but you can get weed. So I get my weed and go home. I smoke it, I have fun, I see television, get high. I eat a lot, I might become chubby. It's okay. Then I go to another doctor and tell me, leave it alone. Do Pilates. And I start doing Pilates, and it's like not only the back stop paining, it's also the source of the problem was fixed. So doctors have a large spectrum, and you can, in different patients, you can get different solution. It depends on the needs, depends on the stuff, and we also like engineers. There is no bulletproof, silver bullet, do this for that. No, we need to think. It's important. Okay, so what are the tools or the rule of thumbs you want to know before we decide if to be on this side or that side? Size matters. Are we developing a feature? Small feature. Adding a feature to a project. Are we developing a service and SMS? A service. Are we developing a full ecosystem of e-commerce? I want to develop like a shopping cart and a catalog and coupons and shipping and all sort of stuff. So it's three different of sizes. So when to do a feature, I don't know. It depends on the feature. When I want to do ecosystem of e-commerce, it might be that I need to think a bit and do some upfront design. Because let's say I want to, I came up with 5 microservices for catalog, for shipping, for searching and so on. I'm doing it like evolutionary. I need to change them after a month. It will be painful. So it might be that I want to think a little bit. For SMS server, it's okay not to think. Write it away. Because it takes me like 1 week to develop such service, it will be less painful to change it. It will be easy. And if you have a big project and you don't think and you build like 5 microservices, after 2 months or 3 months you find out that you're completely wrong because you put all this time on these services. You start falling in love with your bad design and you try to save it, which is completely wrong. Lifecycle matter. Again, Kent Beck. He had an amazing talk in Israel in Facebook, and he talked about 3 phases of lifecycle of projects: explore, expand, extract. So exploration is the phase that we are dumb. We do stuff. And he says, let's do dumb stuff. Let's write the test before the code. Then he comes with TDD. Good. So we do exploration and so on. Then they expand in Facebook. When they do expand, they just don't do anything else. No meeting, nothing. They're just writing the project. And extract, adding a feature. So it's clearly defined 3 stages in the life cycle of the code. So on the exploration, beginner of mind, I don't give a shit. I want to write my code. I write it, no design, nothing, not consulting, nothing. If I do the exploration, it will be nice if I spend some time to do upfront design, which is good. Extraction, again, it depends, like doctors. Maybe yes, maybe not. Consumer matters. It's important to talk to your audience before you set up an API. Who is here loves to go to a chef restaurant? No one? Okay. Let's imagine you are going to a chef restaurant, okay? And the chef comes and said, I have this special dish for you. And he gives you, this is like filet mignon with blue cheese. It's awesome. And I said, okay, I want it. And he said, it's come medium rare. And you tell the chef, listen, I like my steak well done. And he said, you don't know. This, I work on this dish for a year. I developed it. I know what it takes. I said, listen, I don't eat rare meat. I want it well done. I know you like it, I know. And we are as developer, we are writing libraries. We are smart. We think we know what the audience wants, but we don't. We are smarter. We know how to develop the library, but it's important to speak first to the audience before we give them the API. So you want to create a new project, you have an API, take few consumer. This is what you want. We can recommend, we can advise, but not force. It's important because if we choose different domain and different APIs, it will be painful to change it afterwards. Okay. Feeling the obvious. When you go to a large project, let's say the e-commerce ecosystem, and we start to build it, we start to design it and thinking, and then we go like in a month talking and do designing, and I'm saying from the first day, write code, write the obvious. Why? Because you can have in the room the most amazing architects and engineers that consult you, but you lose some of the pain. While coding, you find more pains. I want to integrate with Facebook. I want to integrate with Twilio. By coding from the first day, I find out that these APIs are totally not relevant. And coding from the first day is a great culture. You can do design, but to take part of the day and code from the first day, it's important. Then you feel the pain, and you find that you have some more architectural problems in this. Yagni. Everyone know what is Yagni? Who know what is Yagni? Okay, Yagni is a cool name. You ain't gonna need it. So they tell you, I tell the boss, I want to develop a kind of cache and does this. He said, it's Yagni. You ain't gonna need it. So it's become a trend now in the industry. Yagni, 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 Yagni. And we end up providing a shitty product, a shitty system. You tell your boss, I think I might do paging for this list of items. And he said, it's a Yagni. And then one of the assholes scam the users and create 2,000 of items in the category, and your server become with Stack Overflow. Yagni, don't fall in love with this trend. Think that you should do some stuff and think before you said Yagni. Maybe someone can give you, for example, a high buffer, big buffer, so your server will crash. For example, let's say you want a time-based map. So you create a map, and every bunch of time you delete it. But you don't think about everything. Maybe you can choose to have some sort of cache, like we have or something else. So before saying Yagni, do some more effort. Think of what in the industry give you the solution. But not do over engineering in a way that, okay, I want to develop now. It will be cool to have this kind of stuff, this event sourcing, and then you develop the Yagni, and you end up maintaining it for ages. You need to choose where you can put a little effort and get the highest value. Don't fall in love with this Yagni. You aren't going to need it. You're going to need it. Someone will need it. And you want to provide the best product. Invest a lot. Invest small, get a lot. Okay. Last thing. People recently came to me and said, TDD is not test-driven development, it's test-driven design. No, it's a wrong. TDD is test-driven development. Of course, from TDD, you come from the user perspective, so you can choose the API. You come from the API from the user, so it's easy for you. Of course, when a test becomes complex, it may smell that you need to refactor the code because it does too much. But the extractions of classes and libraries and so on, it's on you. TDD gives you confidence. Yes, I have a test, protect me. But TDD is not test-driven design. Don't fall in love with this term. Test-driven development. It's on you to make a design. So let's sum up what I'm talking about. Takeaway. We wake up in the morning to deliver sustainable, to want to deliver sustainable delivery for a long time. We want our developers to move between projects. We want them to be the best. We want to choose the right patterns to do the flow control, the right persistence, the right tools, the right frameworks. We want to be the best. We woke up in the morning to deliver. This is what we do, nothing else. Even though we're coding to the machine, and the code itself is a word that means coding, obfuscation. We want to code, but we want to read like a story, like an article in the newspaper. This is what we want to do. We want to code the machine, but read the story. We want to find a balance between stop the world and do design, between stop the world, let me code. Something right in between, something good for you, that give you high velocity, provide good features in fast time, but not make mistakes that are going to pay long. And last thing, you get paid to make hard decisions. Okay, this is what we do. Okay, this is my talk. I would like to have some questions, if you have. Thank you. Questions? Yes, please.
Okay, so there is a very thin line between Yagni and over-engineering.
Exactly.
How do we find it? Like, how do we know that this is something?
It's a good question. Like I said, like I'm going to the doctor metaphor again. It's not like a sphere bullet something. When you do the over-engineering, sometimes over-engineering lets you give you a pain afterwards to maintain the software and give you a hard time to do some stuff. When you do the Yagni stuff, you make sure you do some small job that will not let everyone else to suffer and to maintain it for years. But again, it's not like I can say, yeah, but there is line, and it's important not to do over-engineering, but it's also important not to give a shitty product. It's very hard to go between the line, and that's why we get paid, because we need to make the decision. It's hard. What else? Yes, please.
Can you please repeat if I missed this Canvas concept, and you were talking about expressive intent? Like what is that?
Expressive?
Yes, yeah, expressive.
Expressive, it means you want to express. For example, let's take you have a collection of items in a catalog, and you want to get from them only the items which are cost less than 100 grivna. So doing not expressive, imperative way, you can do a for loop on the items and do if it's the price of this item is less than 100 grivna, return me a new collection and so on. But if you want to be expressive, you can do collection.filter and provide a function. So you want the code look like more expressive, like you want, like it's a functional way. You can want to say what that your program will be declarative. More declarative, less imperative. So we want to express. You want to read this like a story, expressive. About what?
About the comments, about the comment in the code. Do you think that this should be like a well documented like as a comment, or you have to read the code as this and understand?
Good question about comments. In my point of view, comments means your code is not expressive and expresses intent. If you need to write a comment, go to your code, go to your variables and express them. Of course, to write some algorithms that do such stuff, you can, that's why comment for. But in general, no documents, document is the code, no comments, comment is the code. If you need to put a comment, it's good, it's a good sign. Go to your code and change it. One more thing I want to say. Martin Fowler says, let's say you look at the code, don't understand. It's in your head. After you understand, you're in your head. Go ahead and refactor it. Not put comments, nothing. If you find a problem in the code, not comment to solve it, but refactor to make it more expressive. Code should be commentless. Make sense? No, it's not okay. Mac, you want to do a purchase, code is class purchase. It's important. Everything should be in the code itself. If you need to put comments, you do serious violation. You should not do it. Of course, you have this tool. If you write like complex algorithm, it's okay. But try to make your code explain itself. Make sense? Welcome. Yes, please.
So there was two slides about domain-driven design and about prototyping.
Prototyping, no?
Prototyping. When we check if certain APIs are suitable for our problem or not.
Which slide? I have this. Wait a second. Domain-driven design was this. This one? Yes. And which slide?
I guess later.
Later?
Yes.
This.
Stop. Previous.
This one?
Yes, I guess.
No, I tell you. This one, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, is it good idea to use domain-driven design for prototyping, or we can build prototype first and continue research our domain?
It's whatever good for you. You can understand this as domain-driven design, you can understand it, or you can understand it as talk to consumer. I'm talking about the interface, not about the mechanics. So if you have like you want to do domain-driven design, you have the domain expert in your team, you can start with domain. You want to be, I'm not a fan of like trend and so on. You want to be like its approach towards domain-driven design. So whatever good for you. There is no like single way to do it.
Do you actually think that you always should do TDD or not?
Okay, good question. I want to quote Corey Hines. Wait a second. Let's move to the end. Sorry. Okay. Sure, it's a good question. Frankly, I love TDD because I'm used to it. I write my code. I put the refactor, put the test. By the way, TDD is not only this. TDD is like it's a much wider scope. Which granularity will have my tests? How my tests are not flaky? How I'm going to make less I/O so it will not be flaky? How I do hexagonal architecture? How do I choose fake, mock, or stub, whatever? Those different talk. But for your question, whatever good for you, I will be happy with the code that runs with TDD. And there some guy said, I know what I want to code. I'm going to call it and write test after. I think there is disadvantage, but I think we should not accept a code which is not covered by tests. I think it's better to be TDD, but I don't believe in the rules in industry. I want in guidelines. It's guidelines. If it's good for you to do test after, you're smart and so on, do. As long as the guy after you come, or girls come after you, and we're able to change it. I don't care. For me, it's like, I don't care. I believe in weeks we do TED, but I think test is the, like Orion said, test in any given time. You can run the test against your project. How you do it, your problem. More questions? Please. Okay, so, wait a second. Wait a second. So, let's finish. This is my Twitter, so if you want to ask questions, or you can talk to any of the guys in Wix or girls in Wix, I will be more than happy to answer and consulting. Thank you for the time. It was a pleasure for me again to join, and I will come more and more to Nipro. Thank you.